Darlene. I'm in recovery. I'm a family member that's in recovery. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey. It actually started 43 years ago with marrying somebody with an alcohol disorder. At that time, I was young, I was naive, and it was suggested that when he did his 12-step program, that I would look into a 12-step program for myself. I really was very honest and saying I wasn't the one that had the problem. I didn't think I needed to go get help, and I didn't. So whether that could have made a huge impact in my future endeavors with this program, I think it probably would have, but I didn't go. So my husband has been in recovery. For 43 years, we've been married. Now we fast forward and we have 2 children, and our daughter started drinking in college, which I know is very popular. We did it, I did it. So I really wasn't real concerned. I would go and visit her, and wherever it was that she was living, there were always a lot of empty cans and empty bottles. And I knew that she had friends, and I knew they had parties. And, whether that's normal or not, in my mind, I was kind of denying that there was anything else going on. I figured it was, a big party. And as that continued, she completed her education. She went on to get a great job. And as I discovered throughout this, she was acting as a very high functioning alcohol disorder abuser. And as a mom, as a nurse, as a teacher, I found it very disheartening. And I tried to deny that my child was in this boat. Now, I do believe, and I know that alcoholism and any abusive, addictive behavior can be genetic. And the guilt that my husband felt and the guilt that I felt, because we have alcoholism on both sides of our family. So the guilt was there, and then anger and embarrassment, being ashamed. You're in a group with friends and you're talking about your children, and so proud. I'm so proud of my children. And it's not something that I would just blurt out to anybody that my daughter was drinking heavily. I just didn't, because I was embarrassed. And it got to the point where, even though she was high functioning, I was very concerned. I was concerned about her job. I was afraid when she would get behind the wheel. She would have to travel a major highway. It didn't matter where she was traveling. The fact that she was under the influence and she was in a motor vehicle, I was so fearful, not only for her own life, but for anybody that she came in contact with. And there were all of those nights of, yes, I knew she wasn't in my home, but I worried about her. And then phone calls would start coming. And, I'd get dressed and we'd rush to where she was, and angry. Oh, I was so angry. And I would be there for her, but I would just keep trying to say to her, when is it going to stop? What are you going to do to make this stop? Only you can control this. You have to be the one to do it. Nothing. I can tell everybody out there, nothing that we say, nothing that we do, nothing we threaten with is going to change, because it's beyond their control, just like it was beyond my control. And being in a 12-step recovery program myself, I know the number one step. I am powerless over that, but I couldn't give it up. as a mom, I could not give it up. And we would rush to her side every time. And finally, the day came where my husband said to me, the phone call came and I was ready to go. And he said, we're not going. We're not. And I just turned to him and I was so angry. And I said, how could you not go and help our daughter? And he said, because we can't help. How many times have we gone and we can't help her? It's out of our hands. Whatever it's going to be, it's going to be. And I said to him, but she could die. And he said, she could. And I completely, like, I just stopped and I thought to myself, she could die. And there's not a darn thing I can do about it. And that night, it was a Thursday night, and I cried. We both cried. We held each other and we cried. I got down on my knees. I'm a very faithful person, and I just gave it all up to my higher power. And I said, you know, she was a miracle for me. I know that you gave her to us for a reason, and I have to trust in whatever your plan is for her, whatever the reason that she's in this position. You have a plan, and I have to leave her to you. So that was a Thursday night. We did not go. Sunday, she came to our house. She sat down and she said, I'm going to go get help. Now, she had told us that she had made calls before and she had reached out, but anytime they suggested that she needed an inpatient program, she wasn't willing to do it. And this time she said, I'm going. And I just praised, you know, the good Lord above for me. And long story short, she's 3.5 years sober. We are 3.5 years in our program. The difference this time, when we went to where she was getting treatment and we met with the counselors, and they said, the first thing you should do is look at a program for yourself. And this time, being my child, I was like, all right, I'm in it to win it. No matter what it takes, I'm there to support her. And that began our journey. And when I first went to the program, I really wasn't sure what to expect. I kind of was hoping that the people there would tell me what I needed to do as far as helping my child get better. It took me just that one meeting to realize it's not about my child, it's about me. My husband was there too. He was there for him. So this is our journey, but on an individual basis, and we each get out of it what we need to get out of it. And to hear so many stories that were so similar to mine, maybe not the circumstances themselves, but the feelings that I had, the guilt, the embarrassment, the anger, the hurt, all of those were written on everybody else's face. And our first meeting, when they shared their stories of being in the exact same place that I was, just was so welcoming. The tissues that I went through and the tears and the hugs that we had afterwards and the kind words, there was just so much hope in that room. And as I became more comfortable going and feeling more at ease, and actually started looking around the room and seeing the word hope on all of the walls and on plaques and on the table in front of me, and reading the literature that I was given, and subscribing to literatures, and just sitting down and poring over the words, and starting my day now with readings and devotions and showing gratitude. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that I found this. There are so many different programs out there. For us, it was the 12 step because that's what we were led to, and that's where we have stayed. And it has questioned me a couple of times. I've kind of thought to myself, when I hear so many other stories with so many that are still in active abusive, addictive behaviors, their family members and loved ones are still in it, my heart hurts. It just hurts for them because I just feel for them. And I know that it is only by the grace of God for me that we are where we are at right now, and then it could turn like any time. There's always a fear in the back of my mind. Her job is very stressful. I worry all the time that at any time she's not going to be able to handle it. But she has a great support system, as do we. And we just keep coming back. We keep coming back and doing it and sharing our experiences and hoping that I'm giving strength and hope to somebody else that's out there. There's such a stigma that's applied to it, which was why I was so embarrassed to admit that my daughter, my loved ones, my other family members, it's not just one. I'm just here to be a mom for this particular journey and tell everybody that's out there struggling and suffering and hurting and looking for something and someone, we're out here and we're so willing to help. It's such a great support system. So if nothing else, I hope that I've just been able to share this experience and give somebody else the strength and the hope to know that there is a rainbow at the end of all of this. So thank you for your time today.